All right, everybody. We want to welcome y'all back to another amazing episode of Off the Beaten Path.
Off.
Off the Beaten Path.
Beat Pat.
Y'all know me. Y'all know Breezy and his little gnome hands. They're going to be sitting there chopping up another beat. But we have an amazing guest tonight. And we were going to do the intro, but we decided to throw it to Tess. And so, Tess, for the people who may know you and those who don't know you, tell us a little about yourself.
Well, first off, thank you for having me. My name is Tess Salb. I am currently the Director of Marketing and Communications for HiViz Shooting Systems. I have been a competitive shooter since the age of 12, and I started instructing with the focus mainly on women in 2019.
That's awesome. And I want to say that, like, we did do a little bit of a digging on you because, you know, we're like, oh, she's an all around, like, you know, badass. And it's like, what questions can we ask that are just different? And so the goal of this podcast is to tell a story of how minorities, and part of that is women moving into the space, how you got started. So you said you started shooting at 12, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in doing some of our research, is this right? At 15 in 1996, you were part of the US Olympic team?
Yes, I was part of the Olympic development program for the sport of modern pentathlon, which at the time was running, swimming, shooting, fencing, and horseback riding. And the ironic part of it was that it was not yet a sport in the Olympics for women. We could compete in the Pan American Championships, the World Championships, everything else, but we did not have a spot in the Olympics yet. And in 1996, they were going to take it out completely, which would completely destroy the sport and just be the end of it. So they recommended that a bunch of us go into individual sports. And at that time, but a lot of us women were going into college. So we went to, I fenced, all of us fenced through college. And then I also tried out for the shooting team. So I started my path in shooting and ended up qualifying for the 1998 World Championships in international pistol, and then made it to the 2000 Olympic trials. So I was two sports, but 5 sports in a short amount of time.
You see how she casually dropped fencing in there?
Yeah, that is amazing.
We both lit one. Fencing. Wow.
Well, my dad, shout out to the 90s. It was probably the best decade of modern life, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my dad would sit us and have us. Yeah, exactly. We need a DJ horn. My dad would sit me and my brother down and be like, "You guys have to watch this," and we would just watch hours of people fencing. And it's like, this is intense because technically all it is a touch. Now, you did just give us a real brief overview of how much of a powerhouse you are, and I want to unpack that just a little bit, or a lot of it, I guess. So what came first? What was the first sport that you got into?
Horseback riding.
Riding.
I went to a birthday party at 5 years old, and they gave pony rides at the local barn. And I grew up in a small town in eastern New Mexico, a town called Hobbs. So it's an oil town. It's on the edge of the Permian Basin. So there's not a lot to do there. And especially there wasn't a lot to do there in the 80s and the 90s. So
sounds like it wasn't a lot.
Yeah. So we went to the local barn for a birthday party for the pony rides. And I came home and told my mom, I was like, I love horses. And she owned a dance studio. And at the time she was a professional dancer, had a lot of offers to go professionally and, Broadway and Los Angeles.
Wow.
And yeah, she has a very interesting story too that we might get into. It's along the way, but anyway, so both of my parents actually did. And the one thing that they wanted me to do as an only child was they really wanted me to choose my own path in life. They didn't want me to dance just because my mom was a dancer and she owned a dance studio. They didn't want me to go into science just because my dad was a scientist and that's what he did. Or, they really wanted to encourage me to step outside of the things that we were already doing as a family and kind of figure out who I was on my own without those influences. And so one of her dance students actually owned, they bred racehorses, and they were next door to the stables. So they got me into riding lessons. And then fast forward to 2012, or sorry, not 2012, when I was in 8th grade, my father was he had gone back to school to get his PhD in psychology. So he was doing his internship in San Antonio, Texas, and found a place for me to horseback ride. Because at the age of 5, I had also announced, after I had started taking riding lessons, that I was going to go to the Olympics in horseback riding. And my parents were like, okay.
That's awesome.
That's a little far-fetched, but okay, little one.
And look at that.
Yeah. So when I was in 8th grade and my dad was in San Antonio, he got me into a riding place called Colonel Russell's Equestrian Center, and they were actually training Olympians. And they said I was really good, and that that could be my path. But most Olympians were in their 30s, and I was 12. So they introduced me to the sport of modern pentathlon, because Johnny Russell Jr. was the owner's son, and he was heading up the junior program for pentathlon. So that's actually how I got into modern pentathlon, because they said, well, here's another avenue to get into the Olympics. Jeez. And I just said yes.
You were like, jumped off the horse and grabbed the.
Whatever. I would ride a horse for any reason. Like, I need to shoot a gun, I need a fence, I need to swim and run, and okay, fine, I'll do it.
There is a lot to unpack. I don't know if we'll have time, because you have it's like, what is it, like an onion?
Yes.
I smiled because I have a funny story. Maybe we'll get to it, about when I was on a pony for the first time at a birthday party, and it took off.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was. That's why I giggled when you said that, because I instantly, like, core memory popped out, and I'm like, oh,
two different.
Oh man, I was so
ends of the spectrum.
The opposite of an Olympic athlete looks like on a horse. That's what I looked like at this birthday party. So visually, you can picture that.
I can guarantee you that every Olympian out there has looked just like you on that pony at some point in time, and they probably still do. That's just not what you see on TV. It's not their highlight reel.
Real quick, hold on, Breeze, really quick, because you got to be chopping the beat. So what sample do you got for us tonight?
Well, you have to let the people know what our theme is this season.
That's right, of course. Yeah,
we're very intentional with season 2.
Yeah, it's ladies only. So this entire season is exclusive for the ladies. Nobody else.
With that in mind, I wanted to keep it lady theme with the samples I'm chopping. So this is what I got. You hear it all right?
Yeah, you can hear it. Oh, ladies' night.
Little ladies' night chop.
Yeah, why not?
So we'll see where that goes. I'll dive in. I'm gonna jump back in. Yeah, like I jumped on the pony at the birthday party I'm gonna jump in there, and we'll see where it goes.
You gotta tell that story.
I might crash out, or it might look good. We'll see.
Tell that story. We got to hear it now.
So I want to say I was probably 6 or 7. I'll try to set the scene. I live on a dead end street, so it was a great place to do it. We have a pretty big backyard that basically the guy, we're kids, so they'd put us up on, and, the guy would walk with the pony in a circle, and it was all chill, right? I'm like, this looks amazing. I'm next in line. I got on, something startled the pony, and it took off running. I mean, down my street. I'm like freaking out. I can hear people screaming about, what's going on? This is crazy, because it ran into my neighbor's yard, and her clotheslined me off the horse. And I just ended up on the ground. The horse took off. Like, a couple people checked on me. The guy ran after and I was just like, what was that?
Why have I never heard?
I was like, is that the extreme experience? Mom? The guy's like, oh my God. I had a clothesline burn on my neck for like 2 weeks. I'll see if my mom has pictures just for just for reference purposes.
Sorry, Tess. I tend to laugh really hard.
That's awesome.
I made it though. I made it. Yeah, it was.
You lived to tell about it.
I did. It was a crazy 30 seconds. It seemed
Yes.
like 20 minutes, but
Oh yeah, when the
Yeah.
horse takes off with you on its back or starts to do something, it
oh yeah, yeah,
just time goes. Yeah, it's
yeah.
it's a
Oh, it
fun
was
sport.
great. I can vividly remember it, and it was
Have you ever been
almost 40 years
shooting
ago.
while horseback riding?
I have not. No, I have never done
Oh.
anything like the cowboy mounted action shooting. But I get people all the time asking me if if I would do that or if I would do a bunch of people want to do the bow and arrow thing.
Yeah.
But I will say I've heard kind of jumping forward a little bit. The IPSC World Rifle Shoot is going to be in Mongolia in 2028.
Wow.
That's one of the teams I want to try out for. And apparently they have like quite the nomad style, and you can do horseback riding and learn to do the arrows off horseback. So that might be a secret motivation for me to make the team.
Yeah. You've done everything else. Why not?
Yeah,
do that?
right. Check another box.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Where you going?
I'm not as good with the bow and arrow, but I like to, I just think it's romantic. Like when you see those girls riding on like social media, I'm just like, oh my God, that's like so romantic. And so
Everything's in
like
super slow-mo.
Yeah, and their hair is flowing and the horse's mane is flowing. And it's just, I don't know. I think it's like every little girl's dream is like.
You know what I love about you, Tess, is that so okay, I know we're kind of jumping around here.
We are jumping around.
Guys, she is a
professional.
She's a professional competitive shooter. She's a 7-time champion. Just like I said before, she's a powerhouse. But I love hearing Tess, and I'm talking like you're not here. What I love hearing about you talk is that you still have this very much feminine energy to you. And we had a guest on, I think it was the last episode we did. We were saying that like she still gets her nails done. She's very girly because there are some pockets in the space where there are certain women who just stop getting their nails done because it doesn't make sense if I'm gonna go shooting 4 or 5 times out of the month, and it doesn't like really feel natural. But I love that you're still very much like, no, like you have this feminine energy to you that you own, and your personality radiates that. And so I love that because Rob and I, we're really big on empowering women, and that statement leads into this. So when did you decide to start shooting competitively?
So after the 2000 Olympic trials, I decided to graduate college and I retired from shooting. Because when you're in the Olympic program, it is almost a full-time job. And I was also a full-time student at the University of Notre Dame. And I fenced 3 of my 4 years. I took my junior year off so that I could focus on the Olympic trials. But I spent every holiday at the Olympic Training Center, every summer at the Olympic Training Center. So by the time I graduated college, I had a boyfriend. I thought I was going to get married. I thought I was going to do all the things that come next, and that didn't happen. But I got a job in the firearms industry. So my first job was with the National Rifle Association. And so I just really wanted to give back to an industry that had given so much to me and kind of helped me get as close to my dreams as I could. And because obviously I didn't make the team, but I was in the top 8. Yeah. So anyway, so I just quit shooting for a while because I told myself, I'm just done. I don't want to do it. And then about 2012, I got the itch to come back again. And at the time I was working for FN, and they, some of the product managers, we were hosting the 3-gun national championships, and I was the marketing girl. I was selling t-shirts and hats at the marketing stand because that's part of my job. And one of the product managers, Tommy Thacker, came up to me and he said, hey, he was like, do you want to shoot some 3-gun? And I thought, yeah, that would be fun. I haven't done that in a long time, haven't really shot at all. And so he said, okay, come early tomorrow and wear this, whatever. And I just thought, I'm going to shoot a pistol. I'm going to shoot a rifle. I'm going to shoot a shotgun and call it 3-gun. No. Larry Houck was one of our other product managers, slapped a belt on me. They put a pistol in a holster. They strapped a rifle to me, and they handed me a shotgun. And I shot the national championships. The only thing I knew how to do was shoot a pistol, but I didn't shoot 9 mil. So the whole holding it with 2 hands was different. And then, rifle, I didn't know about offset. So I didn't know that there was the distance between the scope and the barrel. I didn't know what any of that was. But I didn't DQ. And so then I kept showing up to places that they had asked me to show up, and then they put me on the team. So that's kind of how it started. And I've just made it fun. I've always promised myself I wouldn't make it a second job because I know how in depth I can get with things. And so to this point, I have shot more in the pro category, but I've done it for fun.
That's awesome.
Because
that's cool.
Sorry to jump back to the Olympic. That's like a super small caliber, or what are you guys shooting in the caliber?
In the Olympic program for pistol, they shoot air gun, which is .177, and they shoot 22. So it's 22 long rifle.
Okay, for the okay.
Yeah. So for pistol, it's those two calibers. So it's just a very small caliber, but smaller calibers can sometimes be harder to shoot because you have to be more accurate because the bullet is moving slower.
Yeah.
So my fundamentals are money. I'm just not a fast shooter.
Hey, that is a bar.
That's a bar. That is a bar. Because I was wondering, I was curious, like how it translated. When you jumped into the 3-gun, where you like, oh, okay, I'm getting my bearings and applying some of those fundamentals to the 3-gun. But there was still a learning curve there.
Shooting fundamentals are the same, regardless of which discipline you shoot. Right. Your stance may be a little bit different for your long guns versus your handguns. Also, depending on if you were, whenever I was shooting international pistol, it's all precision. So my stance was much more rigid, and like my feet were set in a certain position, and it was all about decreasing movement from the ground up, creating the most stable platform. Well, when you shoot action sports, you want your feet a little bit closer underneath your hips, underneath your shoulders, more of an athletic stance, so that you can be more mobile and move right, left, forwards, backwards, any direction that you need to go in a split second. So, but the fundamentals from the ground up is like stance, grip, side alignment, trigger squeeze, and follow through are all the same.
And what's cool about our space, Breezy, this last season, like
hold on. You're hold on, you bounced in and out.
Oh, really?
Okay, you froze. It's a good freeze. This will be funny when we watch it back.
Last season we said this a lot, but it seems like anytime there's a gap in knowledge, depending on what discipline you're in, people will just flock to you so they can quickly teach you. And that's what we really love about this space. It's like, oh, I don't know how to do that. And then all of a sudden you're like, there's 20 people talking to me about how to.
It's like you put up the bat signal. Yeah, they're like, what?
Yeah.
Well,
shooting's one of those sports too. I think that, there's a bunch of people that want to take classes and they want like the secret message. They want the secret lesson or the secret word or the secret sauce to all of a sudden go from somebody like me to somebody like Lanny Barnes or Di Muller or, somebody like that, Becky Ackley. But inevitably, even the professionals, even Jerry Mikulik, they're just doing the fundamentals, but they're doing them so smoothly that it's fast. They have taken out all the bobbles, all the thinking. They think faster on their feet. They can perform the fundamentals, and it's second nature. They're not thinking when they're shooting. It's just like breathing.
When did you realize, did you have that moment that was like, wow, I'm really good at this? Or did you just kind of like, I'm just going to keep shooting?
I still just show up and just do the best I can. And I'm still, and I think it's hard. It's kind of one of those, I have my strengths, but when I hang around with the best in the shooting sports. And so compared to them, I'm not great, but compared to some other people, yes, I am better. So I don't know that because of the people that I hang out with and because of the company that I keep, I'm not sure that it's ever clicked that like I have something, because I'm always comparing myself to them. And I joke about the fact that I do everything they do, but I do it in slow motion because my time is about twice as slow.
But Cush and I would probably see you like, what?
Yeah. I was just about to say we were doing an event back in March, and I don't know if you know Heather over at SAR. There's a whole
bunch Miller. I've shot with her too. Yeah, she's a great shooter.
Whole bunch of ladies just shooting, and then all of a sudden, ping, 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 and I'm like, what the hell is that? Breezy
Right.
look. He goes, I think that's Heather. And we walk over there. And she's like,
And
oh
she's kind
yeah,
of like giving us the,
yeah,
what are you
yeah.
gonna
Yep.
do?
Competitively, we're like, you just hit that freaking iron target at
Yeah.
30, 40 yards. Ping, 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 ping. And it's like, it's pretty cool to see. And I don't know. It just leaves us mind blown because we're a media team, we're marketing, we do all that stuff. So when we are working in the space, you get to see people who are novices, you get to see people who are extreme experts, and so the massive gap that exists in between those two is impressive because you do have people who are just ammunition snobs. They can tell you everything about ammo inside and out, all the SAMI regulations, and you're just like, oh my god. And that's kind of like goes back to what I was saying, is that it doesn't matter what discipline you are in this sport or in shooting sports, someone's gonna step up and be like, hey, this is how you, I don't know, something basic, hold the gun properly, right?
Well,
And so
but you have to remember, regardless of what level someone is, I mean, if you have a chance, if anybody listening has a chance to ever meet Jerry Micklick or any one of the professional shooters in any of the disciplines, they're most likely going to be some of the most humble people you will meet. There are some shooters out there who, in some disciplines, that feed more egos than others, but like on the 3-gun side for the majority of shooting sports, I would say the top people are some of the most humble people. But the most important thing to remember is that they started at the exact same place everybody else did. There was a day when they picked up a gun for the very first time. There was a day when they didn't know how to do the same things that you don't know how to do, or the very same things that they're teaching you, because somebody else had to teach them. And I think that gets lost in any sport when people look at professionals, and it seems like they just went from, like, they woke up and that they were just that good.
That's
right.
funny because I picture Jerry doing that, like, wake up, Jerry, and he just starts hitting targets in the dark.
He came out of the womb that way. I mean, he might be,
What just happened?
he might be the one. He and Tiger
Yeah,
Woods
yeah.
and some of the other people like that. But at the
Well,
same
you're right.
time,
Yeah,
But
100%.
well, I mean, I just shot a match with him this past weekend, and it was funny because at the beginning of the year we shot a match. We were on the same squad, and he was giving me a hard time about shooting off my magazine. I'm shooting a category called tactical optics, which means I can have very little equipment, so I can't have anything on my rifle other than my magazine, and like I can't have a bipod or bags or anything for support. And we had to shoot a long range rifle stage off of this really bumpy rock, so that was really hard to get stabilization.
Right.
And after I got done shooting, he comes up to me and he goes, "Did you really shoot like that?" And I go, "Yes, sir, I did." And he says, "Well, did you hit anything?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I hit them all." And he goes, "Well, I'll be." And he walked off. So
That's
we
great.
fast forward to this match. We just shot Rocky Mountain 3-gun in New Mexico, and we had an all rifle stage that had some, like a place where you kind of had to rest on your magazine. It was on this wall, and you're shooting like up this mountain. And he turns to me and he taps my arm and he goes, "I'm gonna use my magazine." And I was like, "Jerry, look at me teaching you things."
Yeah.
That's you know what? Shout out to the Mikulik family because they are royalty in the space. And back in March, we got to meet his wife Kay and his daughter. Was it Justin? We got to meet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
And very humble people,
Yeah.
amazing shooters. And I didn't realize his wife is the reason why he got into shooting, and that's just an amazing story. And that just goes to show like how influential women are, not only in just like in this space, but in the lives of everyday people, right? Because my wife is from Texas. She's a good shooter, and when I got into firearms, I never thought about like, my wife, but she was like, "Yeah, I'm comfortable with guns." I was like, "Oh, really?" She's like, "Yeah." So, but I mean, we've also been married for 20 years, so you have that too. But anyhow, jumping back over, so fitness. Obviously, you're big into fitness. You're shooting all these matches. Talk to us about your fitness journey, because I follow you on Instagram, and I'm like, man, she is a beast. And obviously, when you're shooting, or I think anytime, anything that requires activity or physical movement, people should be training. How long have you been training like your body physically?
I mean, I would say since I was very young, I grew up dancing, and then the sport of modern pentathlon. I mean, just those 5 sports. We didn't really go to the gym much. Then whenever I went to college and I was at the University of Notre Dame fencing, you have to go to strength and conditioning days. And then when I lived at the Olympic Training Center, they didn't want shooters to like do weightlifting because they thought that it would kind of like affect your shooting ability and stuff. So I might have told a fib and told them I was with the Modern Pentathlon crew so that I could go to the gym because I grew up doing fitness, right? And I knew that I shot better when I did fitness stuff. And so anyways, I ended up putting on a strength and conditioning program, and it was fun. I actually got to, one of my lifting partners was one of the ping pong players, and I'm 5'6". He was like 6'4". Wow. I swear the man's calves were as big as my head. Like they were just massive. So, so I would say it kind of started there. And then after college, I just worked out a little bit here and there. I still danced. And then I ended up going to doing Ironman. Yep. I did my first half Ironman through Team and Training. And so we started strength and conditioning through there. And then, I did Ironman 2005, I think. And then, so from there, and then I ended up getting injured. And then I found CrossFit. So I kind of used CrossFit as like a rehabilitation. Yeah. I've been doing CrossFit since 2006, I think, 2005.
You're still doing it?
I am. I've kind of taken a little hiatus because I actually got injured a couple years ago in the tactical game. So it's taken me a little bit of time to get back into the game. Wow. But yeah, I'm feeling better now, and I'm slowly working my way back into it. So
wow, that's awesome. So can we talk a little bit about the Armed Athlete Academy? Because you founded that, right?
Yeah, I did. So that's kind of like the title that I'm like have my instruction under. Yeah. I have not done a lot of advertising with it though, just because I keep picking up people and just working with people that come to me. But I mainly it's kind of founded on I focus on fitness, firearms, and mindset. And when I started teaching through the Tactical Games University, I did that because I actually worked for CrossFit headquarters for a few years. And so teaching some of their seminars. So I took a lot of what the formats that we had used for that. And I understood that there was a lot more, just to go and teach firearms training, there's a lot more to what we're trying to do than just teaching that. So I put my background into all of my teaching with fitness, firearms, and mindset. And instead of like teaching it as 3 different pillars, it's all kind of wrapped into one. So, I will address a visualization before we start a drill. Yeah. I will have my athletes warm up, and I call everybody athletes.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's good.
Yeah, because I mean, it doesn't matter. Everybody, if you're going to carry a firearm, whether it be for sport, for sport, you're going to want to be able to move, right? It's important to be able to move. If you want to get into more advanced shooting sports, you need to be able to get in and out of different positions quickly. You need to be able to tackle different terrain. And the more fit you are, the better off you are. Also, the more fit you are, your body's going to utilize oxygen better. And oxygen is extremely important in the shooting sports to keep your heart rate down, to keep your eyes, so that they're functioning properly. And so there's a lot that goes into it. But yeah, so I just put it all together encompassing. But if you're going to carry a gun, I would say 100% fitness should be at the forefront of your mind, because if it's for personal defense, personal protection, home defense, whatever, being able to move and get off the X to be able to assess a situation and or get yourself to a safe position is most important, so that you can be the asset you are training to be.
And funny story here. So it's in 2023, I started this fitness journey. I got down to I lost almost 100 pounds, right? And then last year, 2024, SHOT Show, my twin brother was like, "Come on, man, we can go to In-N-Out." And Breezy was driving. He was like, "What do you think?" And I was like, "All right, let's go to In-N-Out." So, eating is 80% of fitness. And so
you can eat it In-N-Out though and still do it well.
100%, but I just kind of know.
The Flying Dutchman or whatever. It's like the Flying Dutchman or something.
Yeah.
I just get 2 of those and call it a day.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I just nosedived after that, and I haven't stopped working out. But I will say this: speaking of injuries, a few weeks ago, and I told the guys this: the gym had just bought a new squat machine. It's called a V squat. So the whole idea is ass to grass, right? And so I have 245 pounds on the squat rack, and I finished 15, and I'm like, okay, how do I rack this thing back? And long story short, I got folded up into a fat rotisserie chicken.
Oh no! Oh, that's terrible.
Yeah, but it was.
Hold on, you gotta tell her about the guy that walked over to you when you were folded up.
This young guy walks over and he goes, "Hey man, you need some help?" And I'm sitting there like, "Yeah, I need some help. Get down."
No, this is my favorite place to sit.
It was hilarious. So I've just been focusing on walking like the last 3 weeks. And finally this week I started getting back into weight. But I was like, it was funny because my right knee collapsed and I was in this mirror. I can see myself and I'm like, I see it happening in slow motion. I'm like, and I'm like pinned.
Yeah. Fitness is, I think it's very important because a lot of people hear fitness and they're like, well, I can't squat 245 pounds or I can't deadlift 300 pounds. And the most important thing about fitness is to just show up for yourself where you're at that day. And that for me has been one of the hardest parts of it being injured for me because I've been an athlete, at a higher level. I was doing extremely well in the tactical games and then all of a sudden I can't do anything. I injure both of my ankles, and I can barely walk. So the hardest thing for me, like there was a point in time for me as well that fitness was walking. Fitness was relearning how to walk. Fitness was, I did an ab program online every Wednesday night, just so that I could do some sit-ups because I really couldn't do much after ankle surgery. And anyway, so now I'm also struggling because it's been a few years, struggling to not compare myself today to the self I was 3 years ago.
Wow.
And so the one thing I just want everybody to remember is when I talk about fitness, I'm not talking about going out and lifting all these heavy weights. I'm talking about if fitness for you is walking into the gym and doing 20 minutes of cardio and then walking out, that's successful. And that's fitness. If that's all that you've done, it doesn't have to be to the extreme. The one thing that you do want though for fitness is you want to be able to do it consistently.
Right.
And so what I always tell people is start at a lower weight than you think you can do. Make it easy. Don't make yourself so sore you can't show up for the next 5 days.
Exactly.
That's not consistent.
Get noodle legs after a leg day. You're like, oh
exactly.
man.
So for you, I hate to say it, I'd go back in there and I wouldn't put a single pound on that bar and I would learn how to use that machine.
No, I told myself because I am an extreme person. I'm either all in or I'm all out.
A lot of us are.
And my wife knows. She's like, don't beat yourself up. And I'm like, I've done that weight before. I don't know what happened. And maybe it was my body telling me like, no, I can't do it today. But my mind wanted it. So I just told myself like my agreement with myself is I got to have grace. I got to be able to walk in.
And that's what I always tell my athletes too, is I say, set the weight where if you haven't been in the gym in a while, set the weight that you think you want to do and then back off 10 to 20 pounds. And if you can do that easily and you can then do higher reps. So if you do lower weight, it's fine to do higher reps. You're still moving the same amount of weight over with math, right? But it's just over a longer period of time. But whenever you go heavier, you want to be shorter sets. So between 1 and 5 for the heavier weights. So, I myself I was going to CrossFit for forever. That's what I did for 20 something years. And now I got to the point I couldn't even do that. So now I'm working with a trainer and I'm doing sets of 3 sets of 10, 3 sets of 15. Yeah. And sometimes the weights don't get over 10 pounds. And it's humbling, but I'm dying because I can't lift anymore.
Because now you're going for intensity and that's equally as effective as, the guy with 100-pound dumbbell doing it twice.
Exactly. So the only thing I say about fitness is meet yourself, be realistic about where you are, and meet yourself there and aim for consistency. Right? Do something you can show up for yourself every single day. Because it going back to any type of life thing and or shooting or personal defense or whatever you want to carry for, or any of the firearms sports that you're in, it is helpful.
So how often are y'all doing that?
Doing
what?
The your classes.
The Armed Athlete Academy?
Yeah.
Oh, the Armed Athlete. Right now, I'm just doing a lot of private lessons. I'm going to be announcing a couple of classes come next year, but I will be doing a free intro to 3-gun Zoom call, and it's just going to be a PowerPoint presentation, pretty much talking about 3-gun, what it is, the equipment that's involved, so that people kind of have an idea of, hey, is this a sport I want to get into? Is this not a sport I want to get into? And then I've been working with the local 3-gun club that I shoot with. TDSA 3-gun, and we're going to actually have an in-person class where people can borrow our equipment and actually shoot a couple stages to then see if they like it. So it's kind of, because 3-gun can be really expensive to get into. So what I really want to do is just guide people into the division that's right for them, so that they can purchase the right equipment first.
Have you ever done anything like, because I know when we first started the conversation, you said you originally got into the shooting sports because of empowerment, like women empowerment, and I think that's amazing. Do you actively or I don't know, maybe it's a passive thought, but do you ever think, man, it'd be cool to have a class of I don't know, 14 to 17-year-old ladies, young girls?
I have had a couple of young girls in my classes. I will say I require, because of the discipline and just what was required of me at a young child. My girlfriend and I've reconnected with one of the girls I trained pentathlon with here, and she has 2 young girls. One of them's 11, and we look at her and we're like, just a year from now, we would be at the New Mexico Military Institute training 5 sports a day. And she's like, my kid can't. And her girls are amazing. But she's like, it's just a totally different thing. And I was like, are you saying we were a little weird? She was like, definitely. So, but we were training at the Olympic level at 12, 15 years old, 12 to 15 years old. So I do require a lot from young girls. So I don't mind them being in my class, but I have no problem doing a youth class, but I also don't have a problem with them coming into my adult classes. I'm going to treat them the same, because the thing is that it doesn't matter if they're with their friends or if they're with their mom. The demands are still the same of firearm safety and stuff like that. And I actually encourage them in my classes, just regardless of whatever. I would love to have a junior class if that would be possible. But sometimes I also think when youths are in adult classes, they up their own standards.
Yeah.
Right. And it brings out more within themselves.
Yeah.
It's because they realize, wait, I can compete against these adults. I do have what it takes. So,
and it's amazing to see that click in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They see it and they're like, oh, good job. And they're like, well, wait a minute, I can actually do this.
Yep.
And that's
at the end of all my classes, I do a small competition. We actually use the targets that I shot in the Olympic program just so that people can kind of see. And we do a 1-shot competition, one at a time. And it's kind of like the lowest shot is dropped. So, we just go through. Yeah. And so if everybody shoots 9s and 10s, well, then we shoot again. And then an 8 will be dropped. And then we keep going. And then we start going to 10Xs. And then we start going to millimeters, 10.8, 10.5, 10.2. Wow. So we measure it like they did in the Olympic program. And every single time, the youth shooters are always in the top 3.
And they have younger eyes.
That might be it.
A little more agile too.
So, exactly. They also tend to be the quieter ones in the adult classes. They tend to be the quieter ones, and they're absorbing more. Whereas a bunch of the other women are, they're being social and and stuff. And those young kids are they're zeroed in. Yeah. And I love to see that, because I'm okay. They're gonna do well. So yeah.
What advice would you have for the youth out there, just where to start, somewhere to step one for getting into?
The first thing, especially I didn't come from a firearms family. So for me, it was more so just I fell into the shooting sports. But what I would say is, if it is of interest, go to your local club, and take a parent with you, and then see if you can sign up for a class. See if there's like an intro to something class, or sign up for a one-on-one lesson with something or with someone, just to see if you like it, and then do that for a couple of times and see if you like pistol better, rifle better, or shotgun better. Because pistol shoot, if you're bad at pistol, you may be amazing at shotgun or rifle, or vice versa, And so I just say, try as much as you can before you commit to something. For me, I just happened to be told to shoot pistol, and it was like, you have to be good at this. And it worked out for me.
Yeah.
Right.
We were at an influencer event, and it's a range day. It's essentially a range day where influencers are just shooting and creating their own content. But my twin brother, now I think you've seen both of us before, but you've seen me. He's my identical twin brother. He walks up and they have the skeet shooting machines, and they're like, they have a pair, and they have the rabbit, and the guy's like, "Hey man, you ever shot before?" And my brother's like, "Nah, not shotgun." He goes, "You want to?" He's like, "Yeah." And it was amazing to see my brother turn into like the Rain Man.
Yeah, we call him Rain.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny though, because he was like getting his bearings at first. The first few were like, me and Cush are like, and then once the guy whispered something in his ear, no, you gotta lead it, and it's like, bing, something clicked.
Clicked, yeah.
He's like sporting clays, and he's like calculating measurements, and like he knows the load of the gun already, and just like he started
and before you know it, there was a small crowd around him looking at him like, and he turned around and he's like, "Wow, it's amazing!"
That's awesome. Yeah, and the biggest thing too, I would say for a youth, is like, try them, because like you said, you never know. Sometimes like if you may find it immediately, but have fun with it. Yeah. It sounds like he was able to have fun with it, and the more successful you are, the more fun you're going to have with it.
Yeah.
And then there's also a lot of women's clubs too out there. Yeah. There's a girl and a gun. There's shoot like a girl. There might be a local women's league at your own local range too. So, but biggest thing, like your brother, it sounds like he was having fun, and that was the biggest thing. It's just, hey, like
100%
once it clicks, it's like, oh, this is awesome. So
it was amazing to see. So
it really was.
Breezy,
go ahead. Yes, I want. I have so many questions. Tess is like,
yeah, I know.
Ask her, like, what don't you do?
She's like,
I don't play ball sports. Like I can't throw, I can't catch.
Wow.
Really? No, like I was the girl that in PE in high school, because even though I was in a bunch of sports, I had to take PE, but all the coaches knew. They were like, oh, she doesn't really need to do anything. In baseball or softball, when we had I would be the person, the ball would be coming at me, and I would hightail it right or left. I was like, somebody else needs to get that, because that is not.
Wow, I would have never thought that.
That's amazing.
So if you ever throw anything at me, don't ever throw anything that like is worth anything, because I likely will not catch
it. So what I hear you say is, Vegas, we got to come with like a football and say, Tess, go long.
I'll probably hit me right in the face. I'll be like, oh. I have no reflexes like that, and I don't know why, but I can do other things. But yeah,
fencing and the things that require you to have some motor skills.
A lot of motor skills, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned, the Mongolian shooting, whatever, in 2028. Mm-hmm. What does preparation for that look like for you? Does that require like more intense shooting, or shooting regularly, or do you have to go for, because I know you said horseback. Are you going to actually like try and ride a horse with
No. So these events, I was actually lucky enough to be on the US World Shoot team this past year, and we went to the Czech Republic, and I was on the mini rifle team with Becky Yackley, Jamie Villamore, and Christina Black, and we actually had a really good, amazing time. But it's through IPSC, and so that is the International Practical Shooting Association. So USPSA is our US governing body.
Yep.
And what they do is every year there's a major championship. So like this year was PCC and mini rifle, which was the first one ever. But then they're also, in a couple weeks, they're having the the pistol world shoot down in South Africa.
Wow.
Next year is the shotgun world shoot in Greece. And then the next year is the rifle world shoot in Mongolia. So yeah, so every year there's a major championship. And this is not based on the Olympics. This is based on action shooting sports. So it's a different governing body. So what you do is you have to train for it, and then you have to go to qualifiers, and you have to shoot in the top percentage in order to be able to be eligible for a team.
Yeah, to qualify,
and then
right.
USPSA sees how many slots that they get per division, and then they fill teams based on that. So, yeah.
Wow.
So,
man,
go ahead, because I'm curious about your training, like on a regular. If I understand it ramps up when you're going to do a competition, but like, what's your week-to-week training look like on a regular basis? How often you
shooting?
So for something like that, I mean, I work out every single day because fitness is huge, and the top shooters are in the gym constantly working out, trying to increase speed, motor skills, like you said, their ability to move quickly, because all of this type of shooting, it is accuracy based, but it's also very much speed based. Wow. So for us, it's more so like during the week, it's because I don't have access to a range out my back door. So I'm hitting the gym, and I'm also dry firing. And then on weekends, I'm at the range either shooting a match, which I'll shoot our local matches. So, if there might not be a rifle match, so I might shoot my 22 rifle for a match to kind of get some of the experience. But then also there's like gas gun matches that I might shoot so that we can go a little bit longer, so that I can practice using my reticle and my holds and things like that, so that data is just secondary to me, but also testing your loads, like your ammunition and stuff like that. So you just shoot, whatever you can. I'll be working a lot on movement. So for me, that's one of my weaknesses, is just getting in and out of positions quickly, but also having more confidence and being able to like shoot on the move and stuff like that, to where I don't have to like sit and stop and prep to shoot my shots. I can just like kind of be in preparation before I get there to shoot, and then get out of the position. So, yeah.
Wow.
So,
wow. Yeah. I mean, Rob said it earlier. You're like this blooming onion, and there's so many layers. Like, we can keep this conversation going. You said something earlier. My mind is running. I'm sorry. At 1,000,000 miles an hour with some of the things you said. And the one that jumped. Go ahead, Breeze.
I'm not even working on my beat. I'm just all in.
Sorry, I distracted you.
Brought to you by Off the Beaten Path.
But oh no, not that.
I lost my train of thought, honestly, because I'm just in complete awe of how you train, everything you've accomplished, and what 20 leading up to 28 looks like for you, and there's so much in there to ask that I sincerely don't know what to ask next. And you're kind of like, you're probably, all our other guests are going to hate this, but you're probably our best interviewee.
Well, thank you. I'll take that as a compliment.
You're an open book, and just
on that one.
Yeah, a wealth of information. So I guess since we only have like 10 or 15 minutes left, whatever.
Yeah, amazing. I didn't realize you're 50 minutes in. Go ahead.
How often would new shooter just getting started? How often would you recommend they train?
So I would recommend new shooters. First off, this is given if you've had a couple of classes, right? This is being said if you're either in a dry fire program or you're working with somebody one-on-one. I actually don't recommend anybody dry fire more than 10 minutes a night. And the reason is because if you can, especially when you're learning something, it's very easy to practice bad habits. And then that becomes your thing, and they become harder to break later on. Shooting, like I said, it's not that it doesn't have to be a grueling program. And I don't even dry fire more than 10, 15 minutes a night. But what I do is I do focus on one or two things that I have written out, and I go into my training with intention, and I go for quality, not quantity. So that's what I would say. But the biggest thing I would, because, you don't want to, and also the AMU, they did a study, the US Army Marksmanship Unit, they did a study years ago where they said that, after 10 minutes, you start to decline. There's diminishing returns upon some of your dry fire training. So at that point in time, I just say, 10 to 15 minutes. But in turn, when I go to the range and I train, I spend the majority of my time dry firing at the range, and then I test what I've dry fired with 10 rounds of live fire. So I'm not shooting at so at home, what I say is, don't spend more than 10, 15 minutes, but go into it with intention. And a lot of times I will help my students write down a list of things to dry fire and train. And if you don't know what to train for, train the fundamentals. In 1998, I was in college at Notre Dame, and it was my freshman year, and I had to go to the World Championship tryouts. And I didn't have any time to train. So we worked with the university. They kept my guns in the security department, and I had 3 days to train all year. And so what I ended up doing was I would go to security at 5 a.m. in the morning when most college kids were sleeping. They would take out my guns. They would drive me around to the JAC, which was one of our athletic centers. They would put me in a squash court, and I would just practice my fundamentals for my air gun and practice my fundamentals for 22 dry fire. That was it. And I had my air gun, an air pellet box for my air gun, but that's all I could do. And I ended up making the 98 World Championship team just based on working my stance, grip, side alignment, trigger squeeze, and follow through. I just made sure that those things were solid.
She's like,
I
made the 98.
Low key. And thank you for getting someone, because people hear I even hear dry fire. I've never dry fire. I mean, I've checked out a gun to, see how the trigger feels, but I'm not actually doing any form of training with it. So I love that essentially you're just doing everything you would do with ammunition in the firearm without it. So
or breaking it down. To me, your dry fire time is the time to break things down. Just focus on grip. Like, I'm going to shoot. So my dry fire program, typically, depending on time, if I have 5 minutes, I might say, okay, today I'm just going to work on side alignment and trigger squeeze, or grip and side alignment. And then what I'll do is I'll do 10 rounds of grip, dry fire, and I'll ask myself a couple of questions. Like, did the sights move? How did that feel? Could I do it consistently? I will also break my grip, put the gun down, re-grip, shoot one shot, put the gun down, re-grip, shoot one shot, put the gun down. So you're training yourself to identify inconsistencies and identify what consistencies work. When I do this, it feels like this, and this is what my sights do. And then whenever you go to the range, what you can do is you can kind of do something similar, and then you test yourself with live fire rounds. And then you say, okay, if your group is like this, then things are working. Yeah. But the other thing too is I don't get caught up in, when you're starting to learn, I don't shoot face targets. I have we spend a lot of time on blank targets, because I want people focused everywhere behind the firing line. What is happening with my feet? What is happening with my hands? What is happening with my vision? What am I seeing?
Wow. So much sense.
You get to earn your rings in my class, essentially.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
See,
bro.
Another file cabinet in my nugget. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was amazing.
A blank target so you can focus on everything behind. That makes so much sense.
Yeah. You said it earlier, just the comfortability of it. It's not every time you pick up a firearm, you're going to be live shooting. Like, needs to be second nature. So I love that. That's something.
And identify the inconsistency. Yeah. And the biggest thing in my class, this blows people's mind, is I ask them, I'm looking for groups, and everybody gets so disappointed when they don't shoot a 10. But my whole thing is, if you have a group and it's like this and it's in, the 6 o'clock ring, are those good shots or are those not good shots?
Right.
Those are great shots.
Yeah.
Why? We can move your sights because you're consistent. So we
Yeah.
can move your sights. When people shoot a 10 and they can't tell you how they got there, but they can shoot an 8 and they can tell me, oh, I know that was an 8. My sights were off to the left. I felt it. 100% called it. And they can call that shot. That 10 to me is a bad shot. That 8 is a perfect shot.
Perfect.
And that blows people's minds. And I'm like I tell my clients, I'm like, I will teach you to drive the bullet, not ride the bullet. And I just think of like when people can't call their shots, it's like a bull rider in a ring. You don't know where the bull's going, but you're hanging on for dear life.
Yes.
Versus when you learn how to drive your bullet, it's a Formula One racer. And if I tell you to shoot that 8 o'clock number off the target, you shoot that 8 o'clock off that target. So that's kind of the difference. That's where I start my students. It's very much precision based, very much fundamentals based. But then they have a strong foundation to go any direction they want to go to and have confidence to step into anybody else's class to teach them the speed and the other things like that they need to know.
Wow.
Yes. Wow. I literally don't know what to say. I'm just like, holy moly, guacamole.
Right there. She came out shooting.
Yeah.
Tess on fire.
Tess Curry. Yeah.
Wow. That was great.
So, I mean, like I said earlier, we can have this conversation all night. But I want to go ahead and wrap this up here because
that was great.
I think we definitely got to have you back on the podcast.
I would love to.
Yeah.
But you gave so much advice, and I think there's so many nuggets within what you said that it's just, I think you are the episode. Like we could have just said, "Hey, Tess, just tell us about you," and we'll just sit back and in amazement and take notes. But I want to say sincerely, thank you so much for joining us. I love again your story from being 12 years old and working your way through the ranks, especially in the space, and you're a trailblazer to say the least. You're a powerhouse again to say the least. I can't
threat. I mean, there's just all the
yeah. If
one of our favorite people in the space, we love seeing you at events.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. You guys are amazing as well. We appreciate all that you're doing for the firearms industry too.
Thank you. Yeah. And guys, thank you for tuning in for another. Wait, Tess, where can people follow you and find you? What's like your social media handle if you want to share it?
So on Instagram, I am shoot_4_gold, or on Facebook, I'm Tess Salb Shooting.
Awesome. Cool. Awesome. I'm gonna there it goes. I put it on this banner. And for the people listening who don't have video in 2025, it is shoot_4_gold. And Tess, thanks again for your time.
Out.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank you, Tess.